Hey guys, Fred Wellman for the MeidasTouch Network, host of On Democracy with FP Wellman. Well, RFK Jr. is up to his stuff again. Once more, we find Fox News working so hard to make him relevant. I think last week there's a story that said he's already had over 90 different stories and comments and pieces done on him on Fox News, as a Democratic nominee, which is a lot. And it doesn't end. So this week, he had a town hall with Sean Hannity, of all people, which, he's their big town hall guy for all the Republican, different nominees. And so in the town hall, there's a lot of crazy stuff, like always with RFK Jr., but his Ukraine answer has gotten a lot of attention. But I want to focus on two aspects of this issue, this answer he gave. And I'm going to show the whole clip to you. And there's two things I want you to pay attention to. So watch this clip. One, the batshit crazy answers, and we're going to go point by point on those. But two, just the way it goes down. This clip, I don't know how long it is, a minute and a half maybe. Just watch the flood of information that RFK Jr. spits out, and then the crowd reaction. We're going to circle back, and we're going to go into this. It's something.
Use language art, you use the design of agreements.
So Ukraine, to appease Putin, who I think is evil, they've already given up Crimea. It was annexed. So what? Now they have to give up the Donbass area?
Ukraine, because of our pushing the Ukraine into the war on two occasions.
We pushed them into it, or did Putin?
Well, let me tell you. Let me answer your question. Yeah. In 2019. France, Germany, and Russia all agreed to the Minsk Accords. That year, Zelensky ran for president. He was a comedian. He had no political experience. Why did he win? Because he ran on one issue, signing the Minsk Accords. As soon as he got in there, Victoria Nuland and the White House told him he couldn't do it. Then Putin sends 40,000 troops in. That's not enough to conquer the country. Clearly, he wanted us to come to the negotiation. He wanted somebody to come to the negotiating table. Zelensky came to the negotiating table, signed a new agreement that was the Minsk Accords 2 in 2022, and that would have allowed Donbass to stay, and Lugansk to remain as part of Ukraine. We said Putin signed it, Zelensky initialed it, and Putin, in good faith, began withdrawing troops from the Ukraine. What happened? We sent Boris Johnson over there to torpedo it because we don't want peace we want the war with Russia.
Why are you blaming America's role in this?
Woo, okay. Woo, okay, so I'm not an expert on Ukraine. But I'm friends with people who are, like my friend Alex Vindman. And Alex had this to say. He put a tweet up afterwards. He said, and listen to this. He says, Vindman says, absolutely nothing this clown said is remotely correct. The dates, names, places, context, everything was wrong. To anyone who understands this topic, he sounds like a complete ignoramus. And Alex is right. He's a really smart guy if you know him. But he also misses a point. He said something really key there. For those who understand this topic, he sounds like a complete ignoramus. But that's just it. The average American doesn't know this topic. The average American thinks that was a great answer. Listen to the way in a minute he whipped out fact, 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 boom, 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 point, point, point. This is the fact. This is the fact. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, wow, okay. This is how Trump does it too. But here, let's walk through. Let me explain this bullshit to you, okay? He made me do a PowerPoint. I can't believe I had to do a PowerPoint for this, but I did a PowerPoint. I'll bring it up and we'll edit this in. But here's as I could tell, the main points that he's made. This is the RFK Jr. bullshit list I created. So I'm not going to go back through his video because his voice, but let's talk about what he said. First, he says, in 2019, France, Germany, and Russia agreed to the Minsk Accord. Okay, no. Actually, the Minsk Accord, the first one, was in September of 2014. Okay? And it was agreed to with Ukraine at the table, a representative of the previous president, Poroshenko, who was the president in 2014. Then he says, Zelensky ran for the president that year on one issue, signing the Minsk Accord. Okay, so Zelensky did run in 2019. He announced December 31st, 2018, and then 4 months for the election is all he was. 4 months is all he participated in the election. And he won. And he got most of the majority in the first ballot and then 73% of the vote in the second ballot, beating Poroshenko, the incumbent. But he didn't run about Minsk at all. Matter of fact, he was pretty anti-Russian. He ran on two big things. He literally ran a platform of restoring trust in the government and being anti-establishment. Not necessarily a populist, but his big issue always was that we can't trust the government, specifically Poroshenko and all the different corruption in the government. He didn't talk about Minsk. It wasn't even one of his platform points he talked about very often. He didn't talk about it. So again, bullshit number two. Then he says Victoria Nuland at the White House after he was elected told me he couldn't sign it. Okay, this is a big one of the right wing, one of the big right wing fantasies that Victoria Nuland is this puppet master controlling Ukraine as an assistant secretary over at the State Department. Okay, again, complete fantasy because it's actually come out since Zelensky was elected and the war started. He never intended to support the Minsk agreement. And look, I'm not going to get into the details of the Minsk agreements, but the Minsk agreements weren't even between the Russian government per se, France, Germany, EU, Ukraine, whole bunch of issues which smarter people than me talk about. But it gets fucking crazier in his explanation. The next thing he says in there is that Putin then sent 40,000 troops into Ukraine because it wasn't enough to win a war, obviously, but he wanted to negotiate. He wanted somebody to negotiate with him. Okay, just think about what he just said there. He said, a sovereign country sent 40,000 troops into another sovereign country's territory because he really wanted people to negotiate with him. I mean, okay, that totally makes sense. I mean, you murdered your enemies and kill them so somebody will negotiate with you. I mean, everybody knows that's basic statecraft. And then he says, and this is where it really gets fucking ludicrous, Zelensky did sign the Minsk Accord 2 in 2022. Okay, Minsk Accord 2 came out in 2015, February 2015. I mean, literally, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Minsk 2 was signed in the capital of Belarus in 2015. And yes, Poroshenko was there. But the one key part of that was that Putin did not, he says in the next bullet, Putin signed it and in good faith began withdrawing troops. Okay. No, okay, because let me tell you something. Putin said from the beginning, especially on Minsk 2, that Russia was not part of the agreement. And when Minsk 2, point number 10, said that all foreign troops need to leave Ukrainian territory, Putin said, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have any troops there, which he did. Oh, by the way, RFK says he did have 4,000 troops, which is true, actually, but Putin said he didn't. Putin said he has nothing to do with Minsk 2 because he wasn't there, which is a lie. He didn't withdraw troops. He wasn't supposed to have troops there at all. I don't know if you're like me, but the pain of trying to find what to wear is killing me. Most clothes are uncomfortable, never the actual size that I really am, and not to mention how much time is wasted for me trying to find a good outfit. So when you do have a good fit, you can only wear it for a few hours before you have to go to a meeting or a dinner date and you have to change. Everyone wants to dress their best and look good at all times because frankly, it's a confidence booster. Men are no different. Men's closets are due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here's why. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion, from work to hang out at a local brewery. Their collection offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Rhone commuter collection. Now, Rhone's comfortable four-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way from your commute to work or, walk into the box seats of the Cardinals game. With Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll smelling fresh, clean all day long. On top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable. Because I don't know about y'all, I live alone. I got to wash my own darn clothes. So you can ditch going to the dry cleaner. I love the Rhone commuter collection for my lifestyle and fashion choice. Now, look, I'm on the move a lot, whether it's jumping from meeting to meeting or heading to meet friends or, catching a flight to go somewhere like I am this week. The Rhone commuter collection has never let me down. Even after I wear it all day, I feel super fresh because of that Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. So the commuter collection can get you through any working day straight into whatever comes next. Now, here's what I want you to do. Head to Rhone.com/Fred. Use promo code FRED to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/Fred. And use that code Fred. It's time to find your, when you check out. It's time to find your corner offers comfort, and Rowan offers the best. And then the last point was, then we sent Boris Johnson in to torpedo it. This is yet another right-wing fantasy, which says that after the war started, after the invasion in January, in April of that year, that supposedly Russia and Ukraine were ready to have a peace agreement, but Boris Johnson went over mysteriously and scuttled the thing because the West wasn't ready to be done fighting the war. Again, complete right-wing bullshit fantasy once again. But now, okay, so let's take the list of bullshit aside, because I can't believe I had to use PowerPoint in a presentation for the MeidasTouch network, but here I am. But let's put all that aside and look at the bigger picture here. Look at how he presented that information. This is how they do it. This is how these conspiracy nuts do it. This is how Trump does it. It's an absolute flood of bullshit, right? It sounds so reasonable. He has dates. Well, in 2022, he did this, and then Boris Johnson visited. And it dazzles the listener and the opponent. This is a town hall. Hannity didn't have any kind of like fact checking with him. Hannity didn't have a reference guide. I'm going to tell you guys, I had to go on the internet for like an hour and a half to get all these facts. I had to go look up the Minsk Accords because even me as a veteran and a person who considers himself something of an expert in foreign affairs didn't know the details of these agreements. But RFK just bullets them out, and they're complete fantasy. The agreements were signed in 2014 and 2015 by Zelensky's predecessor when he was running a TV show. But it sounds so reasonable. And then look at the end of that tape. The crowd cheers. Oh. And Hannity moves on. Hannity picks up one piece of it. Hannity, if you kind of hear at the end, he says, wait a minute, are you blaming America? That's how they do it. That's how RFK Jr. does it. That's why he's so deeply malevolent, in my opinion. None of that was true. But for the average person, average American in our case, they have no idea that man flooded out complete and utter bullshit. Complete lies. They sound reasonable. It makes sense. But when you dig into it, it's complete horseshit. That's why RFK Jr. is so damn dangerous. That's why he's the darling of Fox News. Because that's the Fox News model, right? Flood of bullshit. Keep you thinking. Unless you're sitting there at fact check. There's literally organizations dedicated to doing nothing but fact checking Fox News. That's where RFK Jr. is at. That's why this guy is so rotten. And that's why we can't have him. And look, Fox News is going to keep on pushing him because they love him, right? But the guy's polling at less than 10% now. He's not a threat. We don't have to take him seriously. But I do think we have to take seriously his threat to our democracy. He is yet another threat to our democracy. All right? It's more disinformation, undermining our relationship with a close ally, undermining a country fighting for their democracy in the most noble of ways, asking for nothing but our support with weapons that they can win and they can fight for their country. He went on in that interview, by the way, to say Russia will never lose the war because, well, just look at Tom. He says something very key in a later clip, and I'll put it up. He says, look what they did at Stalingrad. Look what the Russians did at Stalingrad. They'll never give up their territorial integrity.
Do you think you can create a peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia?
I think we have to. There's no choice. Russia's not going to lose this war. Russia can't afford this. Would be like us losing a war to Mexico. They are not going to lose the war. Go look at what Russia did in Stalingrad in order to preserve its territorial integrity. Russia's been invaded 3 times through the Ukraine. Russia's been invaded 3 times through the Ukraine.
Territorial integrity. Ukraine's not part of Russia. They invaded another country's territorial integrity. But RFK Jr. and those on the right who want to undermine support for Ukraine insist that Putin's actually the guy who's the hero here. That should scare the hell out of you. I'm Fred Wellman with the MeidasTouch Network. Thanks for watching. New shows every week from On Democracy with FP Wellman, Friday nights at 11. We got a banger this week. You're going to love this one. Yet another great representative of our country coming on the show to talk about our democracy. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.